What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Anthony Bruno Show. I am Anthony Bruno. On May 26th, the NHL released its return to play plan. So if the NHL does return later this year, 24 teams are coming back to compete for the Stanley Cup. And along with that news, the NHL also announced that the 2019-2020 regular season is officially complete, which means all the stats are now final. So that means that we can start handing out some hardware. So today I'm going over my predictions for the 2019-2020 NHL Awards. So let's go. Before I get to my predictions for most of the major awards, some awards are already in the bag, so let's go over those first. If the NHL season would have continued, the race for the Rocket Richard would have been amazing. David Pastrnak, Alexander Ovechkin, and Austin Matthews were all within one goal of each other, with Leon Draisaitl and Mika Zibanejad close behind. But now that the regular season is officially complete, Pastrnak and Ovechkin tied for the league lead with 48 goals, so they both win the Rocket Richard. First of all, what a season for Ovechkin. Just when you thought he might start slowing down at the age of 34, he leads the league in goals for the third year in a row and wins the Rocket Richard for the 9th time in his career, the most of any player in history. Ovechkin also became the 8th player to reach the 700 goal mark this season. I think it's only a matter of time before he chases down Gretzky. The man is an absolute machine. Meanwhile, Pastrnak took his game to another level this season, cementing himself as one of the best players in the league, winning the Rocket Richard Trophy for the first time in his career. He was a major reason the Bruins had the best record in the NHL. Next up is the Hart Trophy, awarded to the player who leads the league in points, and this year it goes to Leon Draisaitl of the Edmonton Oilers. This dude had a monster season. He led the league in scoring with 110 points, 13 ahead of his teammate Connor McDavid. Draisaitl became the first German-born player to lead the league in scoring, and he now has 215 points over the last 2 seasons, the most of any player in the NHL. And I think Lord Leon is going to rack up some more hardware. We'll get to that later in the video. Moving along now, the Boston Bruins had an incredible season. They led the league with 100 points, had the best record in the NHL, so they win the President's Trophy. And the Bruins are also one of the betting favorites to win the Stanley Cup, obviously. But here's an interesting little fact. The President's Trophy winner has only won the Stanley Cup once in the last 11 seasons. That was the 2012-2013 Chicago Blackhawks. So recent history is not in the Bruins' favor. But Boston did receive some more hardware as goalies Tuukka, Rask, and Jaroslav Halak took home the Jennings Trophy, having allowed the fewest goals against in the league this season. So an incredible regular season for the Boston Bruins. They'll be looking to win the Stanley Cup for the first time since 2011. Alright, time for my predictions now, and I'm starting things off with the Calder Trophy, awarded to the Rookie of the Year. My 3 finalists for the award are Quinn Hughes of the Canucks, Cale Makar of the Avalanche, and Dominik Kubalik of the Blackhawks. Hughes led all rookies with 53 points this season, pretty incredible considering he's a defenseman. Kubalik led all rookies with 30 goals, but my Calder Trophy winner is Avalanche defenseman Cale Makar. He had 50 points in 57 games, leading all rookies in points per game, and was a major reason Colorado finished as the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. Makar's an amazing skater, has great offensive ability, quarterbacks the power play, he's excellent at even strength, and very solid in the defensive end as well. This kid is an absolute stud, and it looks like he's going to be one of the best defensemen in the NHL for years to come. Before we get to more player awards, it's time for the Jack Adams given out to the Coach of the Year in the NHL. My 3 finalists for the award are Bruins head coach Bruce Cassidy, Blues bench boss Craig Berube, and Avalanche coach Jared Bednar. And for me, this one was very tight. All 3 coaches had their teams playing so well this season, but I'm giving the Jack Adams to Bruce Cassidy. All Cassidy has done since becoming head coach of the Boston Bruins is win. Since taking over for Claude Julien back in February 2017, the Bruins have the 2nd best record in the NHL, only behind the Tampa Bay Lightning. He led Boston to the President's Trophy this year. They were the only team in the league to hit 100 points before the season was suspended, and they had a 6-point lead over the next closest team, Berube's St. Louis Blues. Boston had the best goal differential in the NHL at plus 53. They led the league in goals against per game, and they also had the second best power play and third best penalty kill. Sometimes voters like to give this award to the coach who did the most with less, but sometimes we just need to acknowledge the coach who coached the best team in the league. And in Cassidy's case, he now has a pretty solid 3 to 4 year track record of being a great head coach. And here's the thing with the Boston Bruins. Besides the Marchand, Bergeron, Pastrnak line, they don't have a lot of great offensive players, but Cassidy always seems to get the most out of all 4 lines and always has his team playing great defensive hockey. So Cassidy's my coach of the year, but if he wants to truly elevate into the top tier of the great current head coaches, he needs to win a Stanley Cup. All right, moving along now. Next up is the Vezina Trophy, awarded to the best goaltender in the NHL. My 3 finalists for the award are Andrei Vasilevskiy, Connor Hellebuyck, and Tuukka Rask. Vasilevskiy is the reigning Vezina Trophy winner, led the league in wins this season, and had great stats across the board for the Lightning. And then when we go to Tuukka Rask, he also had excellent numbers for the President's Trophy winning Bruins this season, but he only played 41 games since he split the net with Halak. So my Vezina Trophy winner this season is Connor Hellebuyck of the Winnipeg Jets. Hellebuyck was an absolute workhorse this year for the Jets, logging the second most minutes of any goalie in the NHL behind only Carey Price. And the Jets' defense core was decimated this season. Dustin Byfuglien was a no-show, Jacob Trouba was traded to the Rangers, and Tyler Myers signed with the Canucks in free agency. So Hellebuyck needed to be a rock back there for Winnipeg, and he was awesome this season. Second in the league with 31 wins to go along with a .922 save percentage and an NHL leading 6 shutouts. The backbone of the Winnipeg Jets deserves his first career Vezina Trophy. Next up is the Norris Trophy, awarded to the best defenseman in the NHL. My 3 finalists for the award are John Carlson, Roman Josi, and Victor Hedman. Roman Josi was incredible this season. He pretty much carried the Predators on his back. And Victor Hedman won the Norris Trophy a couple years ago. He was having another great season for the Lightning. But my Norris Trophy winner this year is John Carlson of the Washington Capitals. Carlson led all D-men with 75 points in 69 games this year and also led the Capitals in scoring 8 points ahead of Ovechkin and is a huge reason Washington is the number 3 seed in the East. Carlson was also on pace for 89 points this season, and even if he fell off his pace a little bit, he was still set to become the first defenseman to crack 85 points in a season since Brian Leetch did in 95-96. Carlson's a beast on the power play, plays 25 minutes a game, and he's great in the defensive zone as well. Carlson also leads all defensemen in scoring over the last 3 seasons combined with 213 points in 231 games. He's a true, no doubt about it, number 1 defenseman. There's not a lot of guys like this in the NHL. And I think Carlson is one of the most underappreciated players in the entire league. Ovechkin, Backstrom, Kuznetsov, and Barry Trotz got a lot of the credit when the Washington Capitals won the Stanley Cup a couple of years ago, but Carlson was a major reason the Caps won it all, and winning his first career Norris Trophy would round out his resume very, very nicely. And now for the biggest individual award of all, the Hart Trophy given out to the NHL MVP. There is no award I love debating more than the Hart Trophy because there's always several candidates you can make a case for, and this year my 3 finalists for the award are Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, and Nathan MacKinnon. When it comes to Nathan MacKinnon, this dude is a top 3 player in the world in my opinion. Has incredible explosiveness. The guy is simply a one-man show. He finished 5th in the NHL this season with 93 points and was obviously a major reason the Colorado Avalanche finished as the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. And when you look at the Avalanche this season, Mikko Rantanen missed 28 games due to injury, Nazem Kadri missed 19 games, Gabriel Landeskog missed 16 games, and Cale Makar missed 13 games. All these core players for the Avalanche missed big chunks of time, but none of it mattered because Colorado had Nathan MacKinnon. But saying all that, he finishes third on my list for the MVP. Next up is Connor McDavid, who I believe is the best player in the world. What else can you say about the guy that hasn't already been said? He's literally a god on skates and will dangle your entire team. I was in the building this year at Scotiabank Arena when McDavid embarrassed Morgan Riley with that incredible fake and then went top shelf on Michael Hutchinson. It was just so freaking nasty. He had a great season this year, racking up 97 points, good for second in the NHL, but his teammate Leon Draisaitl had the best season of all and in my opinion deserves the Hart Trophy as NHL MVP. And here's a cool stat. If Draisaitl does win the award this year, he'll be the 11th different player to win it over the last 11 seasons. What an unreal season for Lord Leon Draisaitl. Like I already mentioned, he won the Art Ross Trophy, leading the NHL with 110 points. He finished fourth in the league with 43 goals and led the NHL with 67 assists. He also led all forwards in ice time per game and finished second behind Artemi Panarin in even strength points. A couple years ago, a lot of people thought Draisaitl's point totals were a little inflated because of his exposure to McDavid on the power play and at 5-on-5, but this year Draisaitl proved just how elite he is even without McDavid. When McDavid went down with a quad injury in February, he missed 6 games, and in those 6 games, Draisaitl racked up 12 points, and the Oilers went 3-2-1. He has been a monster the last 2 seasons, elevating his game to a point where he is now one of the best players in the world. And this season, Draisaitl was simply better than everybody else. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think of my NHL Awards predictions and whether you agree or disagree with any of my selections. I can't wait for the NHL to return this year so we get to enjoy a very entertaining, unpredictable, and crazy run to the Stanley Cup. And as always, I would really appreciate it if you like the video, share it on social media, and subscribe to my channel, especially if you're a sports fan and want to see more content like this. It would really, really help me out. So that does it for this video, and I will see you guys next time.